And good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Joe DiGregorio checking in with you. Things have changed a bit concerning Thursday, New Year's Eve, and therefore I'm raising a conditional yellow alert. Not going to go to red alert right now, but I am raising a yellow alert. And people need to start paying attention. I've seen some other people out there want to try and downplay what's happening mainly because they don't know pretty much what they're talking about. And uh, this is something that you really can't take for granted and be complacent with as uh, things have changed. And uh, it's not set in stone just yet, but things have changed such that the chances are becoming very favorable for a tornado outbreak across South Louisiana. And with that, let's go to the maps now. And uh, here we go. So I've highlighted an area. This is the current Storm Prediction Center's outlook for Thursday. And you see the yellow slight risk and the green marginal risk uh, surrounding that. Now, I've highlighted an area in hot pink, and inside of that uh, corridor there, uh, things could get dicey. We've got a front that's going to be approaching, as we all know, and there's a low off to the west that is becoming closed and it's moving more slowly than projected. And the kinematics, shear, the Vort max, everything, and dew points, everything is starting to come into play. The Euro, the operational NAM, the GFS are all in very similar agreement. And as to where this low uh, actually tracks, and it could be somewhere in here, uh, maybe a little bit up here, or maybe closer to there, closer to Dallas. But somewhere within this area is where that low is going to be, and as it comes up underneath the jet stream and the trough, what's going to happen is as it moves up through here, it's going to take on more of a negative tilt to it, and that's going to set the stage. And this will be a closed low at this point already. And one of the models has it a little bit weaker than the others, but and I will say that this is not set in stone, but looking at all the parameters, my gut tells me conditions are prime for it, and uh, it may very well happen. So, and one other thing, we're in a La Nina year right now, and this kind of setup reminds me more of an El Nino pattern, despite not being in an El Nino. So, the weirdness with Mother Nature continues, and uh, we're going to look at a few parameters, not all of them, but I'm going to show you a few different things and try and give you a little bit more information than just my normal, you know, hey, there's a possibility of severe, outlining a risk area like I have here, and just I want to give you a little bit more detail, and this way you're a little bit better informed. But overall, I've got that feeling, and when I get that feeling, those of you that have known me for a long time, you know what happens when I get that feeling. Uh, it's not very far off the mark. So again, take this serious come Thursday, and have multiple ways to get weather alerts. Don't ignore them. If you hear an alert go off, don't ignore it. That's stupidity, especially with the tornado threat that's developing. And I will say this, from Acadiana in the southeast Louisiana and in the southern Mississippi, uh, and on points eastward, that threat's a little bit greater for you guys over there. And uh, if this plays out and verifies like the models are saying, uh, we're going to have issues New Year's, and Mother Nature's going to go out with a big bang. And things right now, uh, things could change, but suffice it to say, I think in this corridor right here, or something very similar, either tonight or tomorrow, if the models continue to uh, be consistent and come into even more a little better agreement, then it's likely we see the Storm Prediction Center issue an enhanced risk in that area. We could even see a moderate. Not saying it will happen, but they very well could pull the trigger on a moderate. Enhanced? Certainly. It's very possible. In fact, it's probably likely. Uh, if they don't, I would be extremely surprised. But at this stage of the game, you never know what those folks are going to do up there at the SPC. Uh, so again, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I absolutely will not downplay any kind of threat, especially the one that appears to be developing. My mission is to supplement the National Weather Service and NOAA and give you as much additional information as possible, and also bring you those watches and warnings so to reach potentially more people to help protect lives and property. And hence my mission. So uh, the only difference between them and I don't get paid for this. They do. And your donations certainly help when I get them, and uh, that keeps me going. So uh, I will say this: come Thursday, if I need to go live, I will be on Twitch TV. I will post that link. Some of you already have it, but I suggest that you go to Twitch TV. I think they have a phone app. Download it. It's a free app. Create a free account and bookmark my channel on there, and you get a notification that I'm live on there. You better be tuning in, and if not me, you better look on for the TV guys and see if they're out there online and broadcasting live, uh, because you're going to need the information come Thursday when this thing starts and ramps up. And I don't want to see anybody caught off guard. That's why I'm giving you an early heads up with this. So, uh, severe weather, very likely, almost certainty. So uh, it's basically going to be a two-pronged type event, and especially for southeast Louisiana and Acadiana. First, we could see that this slight risk extend even further southwest, and uh, around the border in the morning, and then here in southwest Louisiana during late morning, early afternoon, and then on over into Acadiana as we get into late afternoon and overnight, southeast Louisiana and southwestern Mississippi. And that's the potential timing right now. That could change if this thing slows down even more. Then things change a little bit, and potentially it could be worse, or it could be less, depending on how this plays out. Right now, there's still a degree of uncertainty, albeit not very much, but there's still some uncertainty on exactly how this is going to play out and where that low is going to be as it gets up here in the northeast Texas and starts to eject to the east northeast. uh, it's going to be an intensifying closed low as it moves up, and then it's going to kind of meander up in here, and then basically as it gets ready to eject, it's going to shear out, and uh, it's going to be a very strong open wave versus instead of a closed low as it ejects to the northeast, and it's basically going to slingshot. Now, storm motion vector and potential storm cells. We may have broken line of storms to begin with, and anything over here and potentially here, anything in this regime where you already see the warm front here. We're going to take a look at dew points in a minute, but uh, the conditions will be right for supercells, and the buoyancy there is there. Uh, Lift will be there. Height falls are going to be there. Everything is dew points, moisture, shear. Everything is going to be in place, and that's a potential nightmare scenario for tornado outbreak. Um, I can't stress it enough. So we're going to turn that off, and let's zoom in and take a look at go ahead and take a look at surface cape and uh, surface instability, and this will be, we're going to start it at 9 a.m. And you can see instability is fairly low on Tuesday morning, a little bit higher over here in southeast Texas, but you can see, oh, let me turn that off there. You can see down here in the Gulf, things are beginning to become ominous. Now, as we go to noon on Thursday, you start to see these Cape values, and this is surface instability. They're approaching 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's more than sufficient. And we'll look at 850 millibar winds. You give it a chance to come up, and you can see there's your, along your trough axis, you've got these very strong winds, and you can see the negative tilt to this over here as it wraps around that low. And out here in this regime, uh, any storms that get fired up will have a very, very good chance of becoming supercellular and surface based. And as that happens, with the shear in place, tornadoes are likely to pop off. So uh, expect tornado watches to go up sometime overnight tomorrow night. Um, as we get closer in the Thursday morning, probably very early in the morning, daybreak or so, uh, things will start. Tornado watches should start to go up. Um, let's see here. Um, take a look at our dew points for noon. So you can see we've got mid to upper 60s dew points stretching all across the state. And you see how far the warm sector is traversed. And that potentially could extend the severe threat up to along the I-20 corridor and basically from Ruston eastward through Vicksburg and uh, over into Mississippi and Alabama. But you see, where most of the lighter shades are here, you see this corridor here for noon on Thursday. Everything south of this line down in here, these are your mid 60s dew points. And as we progress through the day, we're getting to 3 p.m. and you see very close to reaching those already very close to mid 60s, low to mid 60s dew points. And uh, you see the dry line basically on the west side of this, and you can see this negative tilt here. So uh, again, this disturbs me greatly. And now we're going to go to reflectivity. And let me let's see here. Let's turn this off. Let me zoom in here. So 3 p.m. Wednesday, you see southwest Louisiana under the gun. Now, with that, you see these little discrete cells and clusters out here ahead of this line right here. Okay, these little rogues right here have the potential to be tornadic. Secondary to that, you have these little cells spinning up here in southeast Louisiana, out here off the coast, and moving north, potentially along the Mississippi River Valley here, and then the Macomb up through Brookhaven. Again, these have the very good potential to become supercellular and go rogue and spawn some tornadoes. These will be very fast moving cells on an order of 40 to 50 miles per hour. So it's imperative that you understand where you are geographically, and if a warning is issued, you know this stuff is going to be coming out of the southwest. And due to the quick speed of these cells, by the time that warning gets issued, you're not going to have very much time to get to your safe spot if you're in that polygon of a warning. And so this is one of those setups where I've went over this before when we've had these fast moving tornadic storms or severe thunderstorms. Speed is key here. Okay, if we start getting multiple severe thunderstorm or tornadic supercells, the National Weather Service is going to be hard task to get these warnings out as quickly as possible. And therein lies the problem. You got multiple ones coming up at the same time. You only have limited resources to, over there for these folks to type this stuff out and get it over the emergency alert system. Okay, and you need to pay attention, because if there's more than one warning that gets issued at the same time, don't dismiss it and say, okay, that's the other one, that doesn't apply to me, and ignore the scroll across your TV screen or your weather radio. Pay attention and listen, folks. This is a very dangerous setup. Not saying that it's actually going to happen, but the danger level is increasing, and you can't dismiss that. So, again, even with this line, you see it's not a solid line along, or solid. You don't see a solid edge along its eastern edge here, and that means QLCS spin-ups anywhere along the line, and those are going to be your ones that you're not going to be able to see. So again, timing is still not set in stone. It could be a little bit later than this, or it could be a little bit earlier. I want to say give or take 2 hours either side of what the models are saying right now. So let's jump to 5 p.m. Thursday afternoon, and you can see the main line here is already moving through Acadiana up through Marksville, Alexandria, and you see you've still got that negative tilt, and those become a more linear, north-south oriented along the southern axis of it. But that would put this corridor through here at extreme risk. And as you can already see, and some of these definitely look like supercells to me. So any one of these that pop in this area in southeast Louisiana, again, the tornado threat's going to be ongoing during the day and as we get into the evening. Okay, so the NAM only goes out to 6 p.m. on this particular piece of software, but this is going to be a nocturnal event. A lot of this is still going to come in overnight, and you can see the main line. You still see these clusters. They're fully capable of producing spin-ups and damaging winds. You see the line basically splitting apart, but these individual discrete cells still have the potential to pop off and spin something up or produce damaging straight line winds. So again, you really need to stay focused on what's coming, and if it doesn't play out as severe, you've lost nothing. Okay, I've seen some complacency from certain other people in the Baton Rouge, Gonzales area that do their little weather things, and I can tell you, he's wrong. And I'm not talking about the TV folks either. I can tell you he's wrong. This plays out like I think it will. It's going to be danger, danger level type threat. So I don't know how else to stress the importance of paying attention to weather forecast. What I will tell you, no snow. The stupid weather apps that a lot of you are using, I've seen some of the posts. Oh, my weather app said snow, and then a few hours later, when it updated, it showed nothing. There you go. You want a reliable weather app? use the NOAA weather, unofficial NOAA weather app. It's in a Play Store or an iStore. Um, Unofficial NOAA weather. Pay the one-time fee to get rid of the ads, lock in your location, and it's done. Bring up your forecast. It shows your little temperature icon there, and again, the WFB weather app is very good. I suggest you supplement that with another free app called Storm Shield. Storm Shield. It's available for iPhones and Androids. It's free. Go get it. Lock in your location, and Storm Shield will send you alerts to home. And if you're away from home, it follows you. As long as you have GPS monitoring for that app on, uh, if you say you're in Baton Rouge and you go to Hammond, you get a tornado or some kind of severe warning back home in Baton Rouge, it'll send you an alert saying uh, severe weather alert for home, and you'll know what's happening at home. And if something approaches Hammond while you're there, and a warning gets issued, it's also going to alert you for your particular location. I think the WFB app does that as well. Very well made. So I think the only difference is you can get rid of the ads with Storm Shield. So uh, again, I'm not endorsing them monetarily. I don't have any agreements with any of these people. It's just apps that I use, and I recommend them. So again, just be aware. New Year's Eve is going to be a cluster. It's going to be stormy, potentially life-threatening, the possibility of a tornado outbreak. And I want everybody to be on their A game. If you're complacent, with a significant tornado risk, that's on you. We've simply passed the word on and tried to inform people, and you want to get out there and be Mr. Know-It-All, say, oh, it's nothing's going to happen. Well, you know what? There are times when nothing does happen and all the parameters are in place. But those times are far fewer than in reality. And the way things are beginning to set up right now, you need to understand the threat is very real. Whether that threat materializes as a higher threat or a lower threat remains to be seen at this point, but the threat is there. And again, I can't stress enough, you know, sure, people get scared. You know what? I live in a camper. You think I don't get scared? I do, but I turn that fear into action. I have a plan ready in place. And if something approaches, I go next door. So, it's one of those things. You know, it's perfectly human to have fear, but don't let it control you. You take that fear and you turn it into a positive action. And by positive action, again, I'll say it, have a plan in place, have multiple plans at different times. I don't know what else to say, on that topic. So, again, I'm not going to downplay this, and I'm certainly not hyping it up, uh, and say, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. No, I'm not saying that. I'm going to remind folks that the potential is there for it. So there's a big difference because I've had idiots put words in my mouth before. Those are the ones I like to go off on and set them in their place. And then some TV folks try to troll me like that. It didn't end well for them, for some of them. One of them is no longer in the state. He's left. So, you know, uh, it is what it is. You know, my track record and accuracy rivals the best. And I don't have a doctorate or even a master's. So, you know, it's called experience and continually educating yourself and never stop learning. And you go back and you pay attention to detail over the years, and you learn from past events, past setups, how things come into play. You take all of that and combine it, and over years and years and years of experience, and your knowledge and skill set rivals the best. It's as simple as that. So, you know, be prepared, be ready to act. Again, the storm motion on these is going to be very fast. If a warning is issued, you're going to have very little time, reaction time. So, again, you need to be ready to act. If you're caught out on the roads, uh, know what to do. So, I'm going to clear this, and we're going to go take a look at one more thing before I close this. And wonderful. Something that Paul's got to fix with this thing here. So, as you can see, not a whole lot of rainfall is going to be coming in with this. 1 to 2 inches max. Okay. The bulk of this, as you can see, is going to be associated way up here in the upper Red River Valley, approaching the Mississippi River Valley over here in the upper Midwest here. So, Arkansas River, Missouri River, Red River, uh, that's going to cause things on the Atchafalaya because that red, where the Red River goes, comes all the way down, and you have issues. So expect rises on the Mississippi, eventually the Atchafalaya, and probably the Calcasieu River, and all these other little streams, probably the Sabine as well. So, what goes up must come down. So anything that falls north of us got to come south. So be prepared for that. Uh, Eventually, we're going to see a little bit of a bump on the Mississippi River as this works down. Shouldn't be too bad, but as far as New Year's festivities, um, folks in Southwest or Southeast Louisiana, um, I think you're gonna you're gonna have some issues come midnight, and we'll take this in a lockstep here. And as you can see, things are clearing from west to east now. So at least for Southwest Louisiana, I think by midnight we may be in a clear. Uh, Acadiana, possibly. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, no negative. Uh, If you want to get out there like a fool in the cold rain, trying to pop fireworks, hey, by all means, go for it. Um, you catch the flu or a bad cold, don't say it didn't tell you so. But um, suffice it to say, it's gonna be nasty. Now, the cold air will have yet to arrive uh, with this as things progress. You still see it over here in uh, central and moving into East Texas, but for the most part, uh, most everybody's in the 60s, low to mid 60s through Southwest Louisiana and Acadiana, and then in the upper 60s and potentially low 70s in Southeast Louisiana. So, it's not only is it going to be warm, it's going to be muggy and humid. It's going to be breezy. We'll put in the wind gusts here, and you can see, you know, these are surface wind gusts. You can see it's going to be fairly breezy come Thursday evening, right after sunset, or right at sunset. So you potentially have winds gusting to tropical storm force, 40 miles per 39 miles per hour plus is tropical storm force. So, you see these little areas, and that's embedded within these cells and these storm clusters. So, you know, we'll see if this verifies. NAM 3 kilometers, pretty good convective model. So, you know, we're just going to leave it there, and I've given you some of the parameters, not all of them, but I think I've given you enough information that you know it's sufficiently been understandable uh, to where it's mainly in layman's terms, where even the most non-understanding people of meteorology can understand it. And uh, it gets to a point sometimes, it gets kind of hard, but at the same time, uh, it is what it is. But now, what I want to do is I want to go back one more time here, and uh, where is it at here? I'm gonna There it is. I want to go to pivotal weather real quick, and let's look at the latest Euro. And let's see here what we got on the. No, let's go to uh, 3 kilometer. And what I want is give me a minute while I get this set up, and then we're going to take a look at uh, a few things here. So, now, here we go. So, what I want to do here is all right, so we're looking at NAM 3 kilometer, and this is significant tornado parameter. Let's go back in time now. Let's go to 51 hours. And this would be, let's see, that's 3 p.m. Noon would be 9 a.m. So we see a developing tornado threat here in the southeast Texas along coastal areas of southwest Louisiana. Uh, and inland, albeit it's low. The higher tornado significant tornado potential is still out in the Gulf of Mexico. And uh, as we move this forward in time, we'll go to noon, and you can see how quickly the tornado threat ramps up. And at least here for Jennings, let's see if it shows the photograph and the skew T. Let's see if it's showing. There you go. So you see the sickle shape there on the photograph up there in the upper right, and you see the shear, basically 40 knots embedded with that. And there's things, some of the parameters, but you see down there towards the lower right where it says possible hazard type tornado. So again, that threat's real, and you can see that we have a little bit of veering of the winds, but everything is set up through the surface and mid levels of the atmosphere. Uh, this doesn't bode well. You got that backing. So uh, again, you know, things could get dicey. Now we'll move forward. That would be noon Thursday, and now we move to 3 p.m. when things really ramp up. And you see the bigger tornado threat there in Acadiana. Again, you see basically the same thing. Uh, Possible hazard type tornado, and uh, you see what the winds are doing here uh, to the different levels of the atmosphere, and you see they're very strong. Uh, at some strong winds aloft. So, and you see it even down at the surface. So, you know, we've got some shear uh, all the way down to the surface, and uh, we got strong low-level jet, and um, this is a lot of things that concern me. The helicity is there, shear is there. Uh, Folks, you need to take this seriously. And we'll move now to uh, 6 p.m. and there's still a significant uh, tornadic parameter in place, and this will be more for New Orleans now. And you can see, there we go. Still got that sickle-shaped uh, photograph there, and indicating possible tornado. So it is sampling probably a supercell right there. Um, Again, the threat is there, and we'll actually pull up the supercell composite, and you can see parameters for supercells is there. We'll back it up again. This will be from 3 p.m. We'll go back to 3 p.m. and you see southeast Louisiana and Acadiana. Uh, you see this tilt front oriented from northwest to southeast. You know, that's certainly not a good sign. And we'll back it up once more, and we'll go to noon, and still some issues here in southwest Louisiana and Acadiana at that hour. But um, let's look at surface-based lifted index, and you can see, that there's them negatives. So, this thing has the potential. If this were to verify, let's look at mixed layer CAPE. That's your mixed layer instability. So, again, instability is not going to be that significant, but uh, even given that, the other parameters that are going to be in place, we'll advance this forward in time to 3 p.m. And you can see, uh, there's some pockets of 1,000 plus joules per kilogram there on the mixed layer cape. So, that's instability. You want to see most unstable cape, we'll show that, and you know your threat area is still there. We're going to 6 p.m. Events at the 6 p.m. on Thursday, and most of the instability is beginning to encroach on coastal areas of Mississippi, albeit southeast Louisiana is still under the gun at this point, and southwest Louisiana pretty much in the clear. So we'll look at bulk shear. There you go. You see these veering of winds, coming through here, and that doesn't bode well. And um, we'll look at the first kilometer up of energy helicity, and again, southern Acadiana and the southeast Louisiana. Uh, these parameters that are coming together will back this up once more, and we'll go to noon. So, this thing's going to be ongoing from mid-morning until late, not overnight. So, and then I want to say probably after 2 a.m., it finally clears most of the state and is well into Alabama, Mississippi at that point. So, I'm giving you a good bit of the information uh, and some of the parameters. Some of you will understand that, and though most of you probably don't, suffice it to say, these are some of the key ingredients for the potential for tornadic outbreak, and certainly severe thunderstorms. So, weather-wise, it's probably going to be very busy for me New Year's, and it is what it is. So, with that, I'll have another update tonight. Excuse me. After midnight, when we get the new day 2 outlook, and we'll see if they pull the trigger and upgrade to an enhanced risk for parts of South Louisiana. That little corridor that I showed you probably won't be exact if they do pull the trigger and issue an enhanced, but we'll see what happens. They may very well not. Just depends on how this thing continues to play out. If there's still a degree of uncertainty, they'll probably leave it as is until things come into play a little bit better. So it's really going to go down to the wire. But the models are in pretty good agreement at this point, and we'll see how the consistency goes over the next couple of runs and what happens from there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it. Remember, your donations help make this possible for me on my end, by keeping me up and running, helping alleviate some of my out-of-pocket expenses. If you own a business that's not shut down and you want to advertise, I have spots I can put on my weather website and advertise for you during these videos and put your logo up there. So, times like this, I'll reach a lot of people, and that could increase your business potential. So if you feel like you want to advertise, give me a shout, message the page. Or if you know me personally, send me a message, and we'll go from there. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again later tonight.